That's why she's the director. She knows when to open the door.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I will have you put your phones on vibrate, please. This is a very small environment, so any noise will take away from the students today. Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to the Fall 2024 USF School of Nursing and Health Professions White Coat Ceremony for our Master's Entry MSN students, Cohort 18, Orange County. I am Dr. Ann Mawani, Statewide Program Director for the ME-MSN program. On behalf of the Dean, our staff, and the whole School of Nursing and Health Professions, we're very delighted to have you all in attendance today. Thank you, family and friends, for joining us. This is a very important milestone for our students, and so we appreciate you coming in and being in attendance today. The School of Nursing and Health Profession leadership, faculty, and staff are very glad to celebrate this milestone with you and the start of your clinical experiences. We are weeks into your first semester now, and by now you have a sense of what you signed up for. I hope. And you have a sense also of the many changes that will come as a result of your decision to not just become nurses, but to become nursing leaders. It's my pleasure to mark this new beginning with you. I think I last saw you all a couple weeks ago at orientation. You look very different. You don't look shy anymore, so that's good. And we're excited to start this journey with you. At this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Kristen Lombard to give us a little explanation and purpose for the White Coat event. Dr. Lombard.
It's good to see you. Thank you, Dr. Lawani. So the White Coat Ceremony was founded in 1993 at Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons in New York City by the Honorable D. Gold Foundation. It was traditionally held at the beginning of every academic year to welcome and to initiate each new class of medical students and emphasize humanistic, patient-centered care. Several years ago, the Gold Foundation and the AACN, which is the American Association of Colleges of Nursing, came together to establish a groundbreaking program for nursing students. The president of the AACN, Eileen Breslin, stated that inviting nursing into this initiative sends a clear message that all health professionals have an essential role to play in providing compassionate care. Students, today's event gives you permission to accept the role of the professional nurse and to acknowledge your responsibility to put the well-being of the patient first. By participating in this ceremony, you affirm that this obligation to the patient begins now and continues throughout your career. Today, you will be privileged to hear from our distinguished speaker, Dr. Ann Mawani, the program director. Then you will put on or don your white coat. And after that, you will have a blessing of your hands. a critical instrument for healing, to symbolize the caring, generosity, compassion, service, and competence of this profession. Then you will recite the Nightingale Pledge together in community. So I am now delighted to introduce our speaker, Dr. Ann Lawani, and as she mentioned, she's our statewide director of the ME-MSN program. And she's also a professor of nursing within our School of Nursing and Health Professions. Her academic experience includes a PhD in nursing from the University of San Diego, a master's in nursing degree from the University of San Diego, and a bachelor's degree in healthcare administration from California State University of Sacramento. Her unique professional background entails small business accounting, clinical nursing practice, and leadership. She is a practicing registered nurse with clinical experience that spans adult cardiovascular, stroke, cystic fibrosis, and orthopedic patient populations across multiple healthcare settings, including acute care and hospice facilities. A scholar and a lifelong learner, Dr. Lawani's area of research expertise is in palliative care and hospice, end-of-life transitions, and healthcare utilization for these patient populations. Please join me in welcoming the program director, Dr. Ann Lawani.
Hello again, everyone. I bring you again congratulatory messages from the United 5 hours, and of course your fellow ME-MSN students at the Hilltop campus. So a few weeks at orientation, a few weeks ago, we discussed your why. Why you all choose nursing? Can anyone remember? Still remember your why? I hope so. And I hope that in the months to come, as you continue on this journey, as the classes become complicated, as your schedules become more complex, I hope you continue to hold on to your why. Today, I get to share my why with you. Over 10 years ago, my older brother and one of my very favorite people in the world died of pneumonia, which led to what I now know as a nurse as septic shock. At the time, I wondered, how can a 38-year-old healthy young man die of pneumonia? And as a sister, it felt like a little part of me was gone forever. However, as a daughter, I got to watch my parents take solace in the care that your son got at the end of his life. Daily, I watched my mom talk about the nurse who washed my brother's hair, and another nurse who never left the room until my brother smiled. These were the people a mother remembered through her grieving process. And I thought, if at the worst time of their life, they remembered nurses, I had to be that impact. So that's my why. It's the reason I still practice at the bedside. It's the reason I work very hard behind the scenes to ensure that you all become nurse leaders who understand your value and who understand that your presence goes a long way. Because when it really comes to it, your character and your demeanor as a nurse is just as important as the nerve that you possess. And I dare to say, sometimes it matters more than the knowledge you possess. Because people can't see your knowledge, but they see your character. They see your demeanor. They see your presence. They feel your presence. They see you. And you see them. At least I hope you do. Having said that, I'll tell you about 3 patients that I've had the honor to care for. The first is of a 70-year-old Arabic female. We admitted her for sepsis related to a gangrene and necrosis of her toes. The doctor informed her that the only way to move forward was an amputation. The patient was unsure if she should just die of sepsis or get a below-the-knee amputation. She was mostly worried, though, about the stigma in her community and if she would ever get to play with her grandchildren. The second is one that I always remember. He was a 65-year-old, a tech CEO. He was dying of mandibular cancer a few weeks before Christmas. And his one regret was he did not get to develop a relationship with his daughter, who's now an adult. The third story is of an 83-year-old male admitted with pneumonia. And during his stay with us, he developed an inoperable clot in his brain. Slowly, he lost his memory. He had no family in the area, no one to inform of his last wishes. And while he could remember little details each day, he needed someone to take notes. For these 3 patients, nurses were the intermediaries. To educate the 70-year-old of prosthetic options, include physical therapy, case management, and the interdisciplinary team. Turns out, when the surgeon talked to her, he did not use an interpreter. And so this patient was not sure and not aware that there were prosthetic options, and she didn't know her insurance could pay for it. Nurses were also the intermediaries to call the daughter of the CEO, inform her he was dying, and find a way to get her to come see her dad with a grandchild he did not know he had. And one thing you get to learn as you develop on this journey, when nurses want something, we usually get it. We usually make it happen. Thirdly, nurses were the intermediaries to write down the wishes, the funeral plot information, and phone number of a family member to call for that 73-year-old with an inoperable clot. The gist of the story is nurses are always at the forefront. In good times, sad times, times of transition, and at the time of death. The journey ahead is really what you want it to be. It's what you make of it. But I want to leave you today with a few gems that have worked for me, and I hope that you take these with you for your careers. First, it's not about you. And as you settle into your careers, I hope you know that it's not about your hiring organizations or your unions. It's about your patients. Your patients must be at the center of your care, treated with dignity, patience, and in a holistic manner. In the Jesuit tradition, we value cura personalis, care of the whole person, being people for others, and welcoming diversity. This means that as nurses, you must care for your patients irrespective of their culture, their beliefs, sexual orientations, values, and sometimes irrespective of their crimes. You care for the totality of who we are. I hope you always remember your why, and I hope you always remember who you are. You get to become Jesuit nurses. This means you care for others, but you also care for yourselves. You show respect, even when you don't feel like it. I hope you keep the spirit of inquiry and you stay ready to learn. And I hope you know that you never know enough. So you always ask questions because lives are going to depend on you. I hope you never worry about being liked. Instead, I hope you have the courage to be kind to yourselves and to others. When we worry about being liked, sometimes it's hard to do the right thing. And as you get to find out in healthcare, doing the right thing and doing the hard thing are often ingrained and intertwined. I hope that you have the discipline and accountability to follow the rules and not cut corners. I hope you learn self-awareness and emotional intelligence, to know yourself, to know your boundaries, and to understand your biases. Constantly reflecting on your actions so you can be better. I hope that you are prepared to laugh with strangers, hold the hands of the vulnerable, feed those who can't feed themselves, and cry with families for their loved ones. And lastly, I really, really hope you achieve the holy grail in nursing. That's a 5-liter bladder and thick skin to receive feedback and criticism. Because the former will ensure that you can stand on your feet for 12 hours, and the latter will ensure that you have and you continue to stay with a growth mindset. A nurse embodies and endures. I hope you find that strength. A nurse also has empathy to understand. I hope you find that courage. Cohort 18, it is my hope and it is my prayer that you commit to being the very best of our profession. Our goal as director and as faculty is that you become the best of us, not like us, better than us. Congratulations and welcome to nursing. I will now call on Dr. Ryan O'Malley to lead us in the donning of our white coat.
I'm Ryan O'Malley. I'm one of the professors here in the Master's Entry ME-MSN program, and it's my great pleasure to lead you all in the donning of the white coat. The donning of the white coat symbolizes professionalism and taking responsibility to care for our patients. At this time, we ask all the students to rise and put on or don their white coats. Please feel free to assist one another. Please remain standing while Father Tim Godfrey gives us the blessing of the hands.
Congratulations, Cohort 18. The ceremony of blessing of hands may have begun in the 1800s with Florence Nightingale. It can definitely be traced back to the year 2000 to the University of Virginia Medical Center, where the American Association of Holistic Nurses instituted the practice. Blessing of the hands is a symbolic gesture that affirms the nurse's responsibility to provide compassionate care, and that when a nurse touches a patient, it is a trustworthy and sacred bond that promotes healing. At this time, we invite our nursing students to please come forward to have their hands blessed, and our faculty will be here with the 3 different vials of oil. And then Tracy will be on that side for the hanging of the pin, and I'll be on this side for the hanging of the pin as well, which represents your receiving of the white coat. If students could remain standing then, we'll then go into the recitation of the Florence Nightingale Pledge. I'd like the faculty and those family members and friends who are gathered here to finally close this part of the ceremony with a blessing of the students. So if you extend your hand and adjust your blessing over our students, ask for God's blessing on them. So let us pray. God, our Creator, God of new beginnings, we give you thanks as we come together to celebrate this new cohort of nursing students as they take this first step in their professional nursing careers by donning the white coat. It is a step toward the acquisition of new skills, new insights, and a new way of understanding their role in providing cura personalis, patient-centered care, caring for the whole person. We thank you for their enthusiasm to grow professionally, and we ask that you bless them in their educational journey through the support, the challenge, and the camaraderie of this USF community of peers, faculty, and staff. We give you thanks as well for the families and friends who have gathered here to show their support and love as these young men and women make this commitment to become nurses who truly are persons for others. May they know the important role they play in forming these future nurses. And finally, we ask that all of us who are gathered here today may be sensitive to the needs of others, and that we use our many gifts and talents to serve all people, but especially our brothers and sisters who most need our advocacy for their health and well-being. We make our prayer, trusting in your faithful love and mercy, both now and forever. Amen. We give a round of applause for our Kristen Lumber to please come back and lead us in the Nursing Field Pledge.
Thank you, Father Jim. So I'm pleased to lead you students in the Nightingale Pledge, which is located on the back of your program. The significance of this pledge represents a symbol of transformation, resilience, and the power of the art to heal and communicate. Its principles of patient care, ethical practice, professional development, promises to uphold the Hippocratic Oath to do no harm, practice discretion, and be dedicated to your work as a nurse. I invite all our students in the master's entry cohort 38 to recite the Nightingale Pledge with me. And I ask all nurses attending this event to please say the pledge with us if you would. I solemnly pledge myself before God and in the presence of this assembly to faithfully practice my profession of nursing. I will do all in my power to make and maintain the highest standards and practices of this noble profession. I will hold in confidence all personal matters committed to the keeping of the practice of my calling. I will constantly endeavor to increase my knowledge and skills in nursing and use them wisely. I will openly collaborate with other professionals in the medical community and devote myself to the welfare of those placed in my care. I will seek to nurse those who are ill, wherever they may be, and whenever they are in need. I will endeavor to fulfill my rights and privileges as a good citizen, and take my share of responsibility in promoting the health and well-being of the community. I will be active in assisting others in safeguarding and promoting the health and happiness of all humankind. And so now I will reintroduce Dr. Emily.
Please be seated.
Please be seated.
All right. It's official. Right. You feel it? No? Yes? Yes. Not yet? Okay. But for us, it's official. And we look forward to calling you colleagues when you get on the other side of this journey. I hope that today, if you haven't really thought about it prior to now, I hope you really get to think about it when you go home. And when you look at your hands, I hope you see more than just hands to do work. I hope you see hands that can heal. Hands that can bring comfort. Hands that can show you care. I hope that when you rethink about your why, that you think about being people for others, being advocates for the patients you get the honor of caring for. Because we don't just care for patients, we're privileged to care for patients, to respond to your questions. And by God, when those call lines start to drive you crazy, we are privileged to answer those call lines. And I hope that you train your ears to hear. You train your ears to hear the pain and the voices of your patients, even when they don't feel, it doesn't look like they're in pain. I hope that you train your ears to hear the discomfort in their voices. But I really hope you train yourselves to see people for who they really are. We're vulnerable, we're human. And your patients are going to be vulnerable, and they're going to be human, irrespective of the differences that you have. I really pray and hope that this journey is everything and more than what you ordained for when you came here. And I look forward to your pinning ceremony when we gather again to send you off into the world. I hope you always remember that your goal is to change the world from wherever you're at. And as faculty, we may not be able to touch as many patients, but through you, we can touch much more. I hope you remember that you represent the best of us. Dear families, thank you for joining us this evening. I hope that you get to partake of the care that they get to learn here. Because as a nurse, it's not been just taking care of patients. It's been bringing that care into my home and bringing the care into my household. Because my parents too have benefited from me being a nurse, because they are my first patients. So I hope, dear families and friends, that you get to partake of all that they are learning here. And I hope that you get to see the difference that being a nurse is going to cause them to have, the change that it's going to cause in them. I hope you get to see it. And when you do, I hope that it's for good. Thank you everyone for being here tonight.
Do a picture?
Yes.
You guys too, we need to get
Gather around.
Try to gather around so the university.
So we can see you.
Yeah. And then we can have some sit on these chairs.
That's the one I has a lot.
Ready to double up.
You want to come this way?
Smile. Great picks. It's a great pick.
All right, in 2 minutes, we're gonna start charging. All right.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Yeah.